Hello guys, and it wasn't difficult to choose the topic for our conversation today because I believe you need to know what does an ordinary Ukrainian think about the so-called peace proposal, or should I say the capitulation proposal coming from the White House. To tell you the truth, until today I was confident this is just another Russia's psychological information operation against us, but no, this seems to be real. The proposal consists of 28 contradictory, absurd ideas composed by two very evil men, Witkov and Dmitriev. I'm sure you don't want them to construct your future, to construct the geopolitical architecture of Europe and the world, but this is what they offer us now. In these 28 points, there are lots of nonsense. Things like, sovereignty of Ukraine guaranteed, but Ukraine cannot enter NATO, and NATO has to change its statute for the sake of Putin's satisfaction. A lot of absurd things about Ukrainian troops retreating from the territories that Putin did not manage to capture during these 4 years of the full-scale war, and frozen Russian assets, 50% of them somehow go to the United States. So let's discuss what is inside that 28 points and why we in Ukraine and you in Europe, the United States, I don't know, any country on the world should not agree to such peace proposal because it opens the door to the Third World War. Trump's unprofessionalism, the terms that he sets, you need to sign it by the 27th of November. We are talking about the lives of people. We're talking about justice. We're talking about the international law. We are not in a hurry to get on the list of Nobel Peace nominees for 2026. That's absurd. That's total madness. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia, that is the only working peace plan, please subscribe and do share this video. It's important because, I'm sorry, we're talking about the future of Ukraine, we're talking about the future of Europe, we are talking about the future of the world. And I don't want Witkov and Dmitriev to shape it for us. These people are unfit for the job. They are not diplomats, they are not politicians. They simply try to trade the future of so many good people for literally nothing. Because believe me, FSB, KGB officer Putin will trick Trump. I don't know, honestly, how did we get from sanctions on Lukoil and Rosneft to this capitulation proposal, but no one is going to accept it here. So let's begin with perhaps like the most absurd things that I have put down on the list. Unfortunately, the list is long. The very first point says that it supports Ukraine's sovereignty. I'm sorry, we are an independent country according to the international law. We don't need any additional acknowledgements. And an important reminder, back in 1991, after the collapse of the USSR, the president of the Russian Federation confirmed the borders of Ukraine, that he supports them, that he accepts them. So how many times will we give them an opportunity to rewrite the laws and to reshape the borders? Based on what? What's more interesting, this peace proposal undermines not just Ukrainian independence and sovereignty, but also the one of NATO. It literally ruins the idea of the alliance. Why? Because not only Ukraine has to put down in our constitution that we promise to never join NATO, but also NATO has to put in its statute that it will never accept Ukraine. And do you know why? Because Putin wants it. So we may officially say that if NATO follows what Putin wants, then Putin has a veto inside NATO. And this ruins the very idea of this alliance, of the structure of security in Europe and the world. The USA speaks about the need to restore trade, Russia's presence in G8. I'm sorry, Russia had all the trade opportunities. Russia was a member of G8 when it attacked Ukraine. So it did not attack Ukraine because it was out of these organizations. It was out of this organization because it attacked Ukraine. Putin doesn't care about that. And unfortunately, Russia still trades with the USA and with the European Union. And I was actually shocked to learn after the speech of the Swedish minister that right now the European Union still pays Russia more for their product than it supports Ukraine with. Can you imagine how we feel about that in Ukraine at the moment, when we literally sacrifice everything we have to protect us and the world from Putin's violence and crimes? And once again, if he is rewarded for this genocide in Ukraine, do you understand he will continue, and not just to Ukraine? The Baltics, Romania, these are his next targets. He will not return 1 million of his war criminals back home. He will not stop what he's doing with the North Korean soldiers, with the military production. People, please be sane, be wise, be sober. Okay, then, a totally absurd point which simply highlights the unprofessionalism of the people that composed it. If Ukraine targets a missile on Moscow or St. Petersburg, it loses its security guarantees. So there is almost nothing about these security guarantees apart from, like, Trump is the main guarantor. But I'm sorry, why Moscow, St. Petersburg? And if it's a different city, if it's Rostov, then it's okay. If it's, I don't know, Belgorod and with a drone, then it's okay. Do you just, it's stupid. It's primitive. And, a lot of people reading these points said that they feel shy. They feel sorry for those countries that composed this, because that's so below the average of, like, even a small document, I don't know, written somewhere in a village council. So this reintegration of Russia to its organizations where it was, then trade with Russia, that still continues. Another absurd thing is these frozen assets. That's a big problem for the European Union. They still worry that Russia can sue them in the courts. It's just like Hitler could sue someone in the courts. People don't take the situation seriously, and that's bad, because that actually gives more chances for the growth of this war to other countries in the European Union. And that's real, unfortunately. Now it's more real than it was yesterday. But Trump or Witkoff, or I don't know who, offers that these frozen assets, 1 billion of them will be used for the reconstruction of Ukraine and 50 billion given to the United States. Why? Just because Trump is the greatest dealer? I'm sorry, that's just like has no logics at all. And then I guess it's Witkoff promises Ukraine total access to the EU markets, and Ukraine is allowed to join the EU. But I'm sorry, it's not your sphere of influence. Like, it's the decision of the European Union whether we can join the market, whether we can join the European Union. It has no, like, value. You have no influence on that. Just imagine how unprofessional everything is. That's just like, and they want us to sign it in less than a week. The future of millions of Ukrainians, the future of people in Romania, the future of people in Moldova, the future of people in Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia depends on that. And we are given a week. I'm sorry. Why such a hurry? Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Some say that they actually closed the list of Nobel Peace Prize nominees for 2026 in January, and Trump needs to get there. Can you imagine, like, the level of absurdity? I'm speaking about that and I cannot believe it's true. So then, another thing, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, that is a very dangerous precedent when Russian war criminals hijacked this plant, and the idea is that it will be governed 50-50, like 50 by Ukraine, 50 by Russia. How do you imagine that? Then, of course, they speak about the tolerance and no racism. And I have to explain to you that despite all these problems that we have and all Russia's violence, we belong to the same race. So it's a wrong word here. Both Russians, Ukrainians, Frenchmen, and Americans, like we're talking about different nations perhaps, but not races. So just like it's very unprofessionally composed, but they want to provide full access of Russian media to the Ukrainian market. Can you imagine that? Do you know what Russia media does in your countries? And once again, Russian media were closed in Ukraine when? Right after the full-scale invasion. So, and they also speak about denazification. I hope they mean Russia, but I have a suspicion they don't. Then, Ukraine is supposed to retreat from Donetsk region, which we control, which has the necessary fortifications, which is important, for which lots of people sacrificed their lives, and which Putin cannot get during these 4 years of the full-scale war after he killed 1 million of his soldiers. So we are supposed to retreat from there. And Russians will create a zone, like gray zone there, getting more closer access to Dnipro, Poltava, and to Dnipro, Poltava, Kharkiv regions. They will get a better strategic platform, because it goes without saying, with such rewards, with such stimulations from the White House, the Kremlin will continue its invasions both in Ukraine and in Europe. That's just like obvious. Of course, this can create like tremendous problems inside Ukraine, inside army, and most importantly, like they cannot get this territory, but we should give them this territory. And the rest of the front line is frozen. And based on this, Putin promises not to attack us more. And in his legislation, he will put down that Russia will not attack Europe or Ukraine. As if they have written it in their constitution. As if you read Russian laws and they say like, you attack Europe, you attack Ukraine. People, I feel sorry, I feel ashamed, not shy, ashamed, that's the word I was using. I meant to use. I feel ashamed for people who composed this proposal. Then they also allow us to use Dnipro River. It's in Kyiv. I cross it with the underground literally every day. I didn't know we cannot use it. Thank you so much that we can use it. Thank you so much. And then one of the worst things is that they offer total amnesty to all the Russian war criminals. But they say to both parties. I'm sorry. What both parties? We defend our motherland. Have you seen what they did to Mariupol? What they did to Bucha? So you want to say amnesty. And they also say all the stolen children will be returned. Did we steal any Russian children? Well, remind me, what's wrong with this world? And to make the whole situation worse, all of these process, all of the security guarantees, process of lifting sanctions will be controlled by the Council of Peace, led by himself, Donald J. Trump. How does he do it? Actually, it's so funny when he signs his own like social media account that already has his name, but he likes to sign it. People, how did we get here? People, can you imagine how do we feel now? What's wrong? What kind of influence Putin has on the United States? But let's forget about Ukraine. Let's think about the future of the continent. Let's think about the answer of our EU allies. Because right now, Ukraine is your shield. We didn't want it. But we are your shield. We are our own shield from the invasion of Russians. That will not stop. If Putin is back to all the international organizations, amnesty to all of his war criminals, he's back in trade and everywhere, he gets the Ukrainian territories he cannot win militarily. I'm sorry, why wouldn't he continue? Let me know, what do you think about this peace proposal or the capitulation proposal? What the address of the Ukrainian president, that feels also very disappointed, mildly speaking. And today we celebrate the Day of Dignity and Freedom. And I hope that you remember that dignity is super important in this life and for our survival as species, even like that. Follow me on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord. All the links in the description of this video, same as the link to our merch shop with new holiday season collection. I don't feel festive, honestly. That's a very negative moment right now, and we do feel betrayed. So I need your hugs, I need your positivity in comments, and do share these videos. Subscribe to Anna Danilchuk channel, because it turns out there are not enough pro-Ukraine voices in this world, but the world needs us. Good people who stand for freedom, who stand for dignity, who stand for justice. United we stand. Slava Ukraini!